DJ Pro AI Advanced Looper Tutorial. I'm DJ Spiegel Spin, and in this video I'm going to go in detail on how to use the amazing built-in looper in DJ Pro AI by Algorithm. So today we are talking about the looper in DJ Pro AI. So what makes DJ Pro AI such a good app is that there are these different screen views. So we got Classic, Pro, Looper, Auto Mix, 1-Deck, 4-Deck, and Video. So first I want to show you guys how to access the looper in each one of these screens and what the limitations are for the different screens that we're on. So when you first start the DJ Pro AI app, we are going to be in Classic mode, which looks like this. We got a virtual turntable, we got crossfader, and we got all this other stuff. Now, in order to view the looper and to use the looper in this screen, what you have to do is up here, this is for the mixer. You could do mixer and EQ. This is for waveforms. It's important to be able to see your waveforms while you DJ. And then over here, which are these, but it looks like 6 squares in a row. That is how we are going to access the looper. And then if we click over here on this kind of play button, on the play button is going to be our looper. And then on these squares is going to be our sampler. The looper and sampler kind of go hand in hand. So I'm going to touch on the sampler a little bit too, but this video is mostly about the looper. So in order to use the looper in classic mode, we are going to have it in the middle here. Now this is a very limited version of the looper, so we just get drums, percussions, hats, bass, horn, lead, guitar, vocals. So we get 8 different rows. So if we go here into the looper section, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So instead of having the choice of all of these different drums, all of these different percussions, all of these different effects, if we are in classic mode, we only get one of each. So you got to make sure you like this drum or this percussion, because that's all we get. We don't get to choose different ones. So we could set a looper, but we cannot choose which specific loop track from the row that we're using. But this is good for if you want to practice scratching. Let's say you wanted to practice doing the baby scratch. What you can do is you could just go drums, percussion, hi-hat. So you could do that to practice doing some scratching. Also, if you're doing a DJ set and you want to have a little break and show off your scratching, you could transition from a song into that loop, and then you could start scratching and then transition back into the song. And it gives us this volume slider down here. So you could kind of fade it in, fade it out, and we have a play and pause button. So once you set the loop that you want, let's just say, for example, I'm going to do the drums and the vocals here. So that's what we have. And now if we turn it off, and then let's say we're DJing and mixing, and then we turn it back on, the pattern that we did before is going to be there. So pick one that's good, and then you could have this here as a backup. Let's say a song freezes or you don't know what to play next. You could fade this in while you're using classic mode and have a nice drum beat going so there's no silence and you don't ruin your whole set. Another thing that we could do from this screen is we can change which looper pack we are using. They give us so many of these, and now these are different genres and they're going to be different BPM. So keep that in mind. So if you plan on using the looper for some hip hop, you could use this. You got hip hop fusion over here, and that is going to be at 100 BPM. And now if we go to hardstyle, that's at 150 BPM. So keep that in mind when you plan to use this, because if you're trying to mix songs into this, it's going to sound really weird if you adjust the BPM down to like 100 and you're trying to mix it. It's just not going to sound right because you are messing with the BPM. So try to use a sampler, try to use a looper pack that is close to the BPM that you plan on doing. So the EDM one is going to be at 126, which most EDM songs are around 122 to 130. So at 126, this is going to be a great BPM, and it's going to have great drums and effects to mix in with the EDM songs. All right, so that's enough with classic mode. And also, you could change the BPM over here. So you could change the track, the BPM. You could set a basic loop. You could play and pause, and then you could adjust the BPM. Now, next is in Pro mode. This is the best way to use the looper. So when you start, you're probably going to see your library down here. So again, these 6 squares represent the looper and the sampler. So we click that, and we are in the sampler. If we click over here, we are in the sampler, and then if you go to the right, we are in our looper. So this gives us the full view of all 8 of the rows, and then it gives us all 6 of the tracks in the specific rows. Now, the other screen is going to be the looper screen, and the difference between this one and in Pro mode is you get these volume faders, so you could fade stuff in, you could fade stuff out, you could have one of the tracks at a higher volume, one at a lower volume, which is good for some of the effects and stuff like that. But in Pro mode, you still have your jog wheels, you still have your waveforms, and then you could easily switch to your EQs, your effects, your cue points, and everything else that you need. And then if you press this down here, which is in the middle down here, you get access to the volume slider. But you don't get to see all of the tracks in each row. You only get to see one. But let's say if you set this one, you see how drums is set over there? We have drums set over there. Now we could adjust the volume for the drums. So it changes. So just look at the second one here, how it says snares 1. Now, if we go back to the full view, we press snare 6. Now we are going to be able to adjust the volume for snare 6. So it changes, and you could change the volume for the one that you select. So the way to get good at this looper, really the only way is by investing a lot of time into it, just like anything else with DJing. So what I would recommend, and I know it's time consuming and I know it might be a little bit annoying, but start off with the first one, ambient house. Click the first kicks. Get to know what that sounds like. Click the second one. Get to know what all of these sounds sound like. It doesn't matter if it takes you a long time. You could split it up into days and weeks. So maybe week 1 you are gonna master ambient house. Week 2 you're gonna master the analog techno. This way, you know which sound does which. Same thing if you were going to be using effects. It's a good idea to know what the effect does. With this, we're going to know which drum is which kick drum is which. We are basically producing our own tracks inside this DJ app, which is amazing. There's other apps. I have some of them. Let me just show you. There's other apps like the Groove Pad, which is basically just like the DJ Pro sampler, but a specific app for it. So the fact that we have this great sampler and looper built into the app, so we don't have to go switching from apps and having different iPads and all this, it's already here. So just master it by knowing what does what. So now you know that what the bongos does, which vocals you want to use, and then you will be able to, when you start doing a DJ set, let's say you've mastered this one and that is your loop, just like in classic mode, if it's off, it will save the last one that you did, and then you could just press play. And it's also going to be in sync with the songs that you are playing. So let's say you are playing this song, which is 128 BPM. So that song's 128 BPM, and now we play this. me just eject this. You see, it's synced. Now watch as I move the BPM up. The BPM is going to be moved up and in sync with the looper. So you don't have to do it exact. You don't have to time it exact because it will be in sync with the songs that you use. So I hope this helped you guys bring out your creativity and use this great feature within the app. Let me know down below if you have any questions, and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about DJing with the iPad.